Alright, so if you thought Wuthering Waves was about to slow down after all the recent reveals, think again, because Kuro just quietly dropped one of the most interesting characters we've seen in a long time. Quick disclaimer before we dive in, everything discussed here is based on current developer talks, teasers, and community speculation. None of this is final or officially confirmed for release. Features, visuals, and systems may change before launch, so we'll have to wait for official announcements or live streams to see exactly what makes it into the final version. But with that said, let's get into it. The more you look at Luuk Herssen, the more it feels like he's about to become a serious turning point for how Spectro DPS units are designed, especially once you realize he's officially locked in as a 5-star Gauntlet user coming in the second half of version 3.1, where he's stepping straight into the main DPS spotlight. And honestly, his timing couldn't be better because his reveal hits right as the community is already buzzing about Aemeath, which only makes his design and presence stand out even more. What really sells Luuk, though, isn't just the aesthetics, it's the direction his kit is clearly leaning toward, because everything about his role screams sustained pressure through empowered basic attacks, and the fact that he interacts with both Toon Rupture and Toon Strain immediately tells you he's being built with long-term team flexibility in mind, rather than being locked into one narrow comp. This is a huge win if you care about future-proofing your roster, and that design choice also lines up perfectly with his projected best-in-slot Echo setup, because Rite of Gilded Revelation boosting basic attack damage by a massive 40% after you use Resonance Liberation feels like it was practically made for him. And if you're planning ahead, that's one of the first things you should already be farming. But then things get even more interesting when you start looking at the early visual hints and leak-side chatter, because there's growing evidence that Luuk doesn't just punch things harder, he may literally reshape his own blood into different weapon forms, with mentions of scythes, cross-shaped constructs, and even some very heavy mecha-style armor visuals floating around, which paints a picture of a transformation-based DPS that could feel closer to an Iron Man-style power-up fantasy than anything we've seen from Gauntlet characters so far. It really starts to feel like Kuro is deliberately loading this banner with long-term value units, rather than just flashy one-patch wonders, which makes the decision of whether to pull or save way more interesting than usual. So if you've been waiting for a Spectro main DPS that actually looks like it can carry an account forward instead of just filling a niche, Luuk is shaping up to be one of those characters you're going to hear about for a long time. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and found it helpful, make sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.